Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is Anthony Chene, and he's in France, and he is a filmmaker and has made documentaries about near-death experiences, similar topics. And you've been doing this several years, haven't you, putting up the films on the near-death experiencers?
Yes, I've been doing it for in English a few years, like since 2016 for real. Like a lot of productions since then, yes. But in French, I have another YouTube channel in French, who is bigger, by the way, but it's a little bit older than the English one.
How did that go when you started there? Was the subject of near-death experiences pretty new?
Yes, in France, it still is pretty new. Yes, the mainstream TVs and magazines and so on, they don't really talk about it even now. And then it was even more difficult to talk about it. Like let's say 10 years ago when I began in French, it was really hard to talk about this stuff. Yes, it's a little bit easier in the US. It's more open, let's say.
Why do you think it's not in France? Is it a religious thing, like they're against it that way, or is it still like
Wow.
paranormal?
Mm, yeah, it's a good question. I think French people, we do have a thing for the rational mind, you know. We like to say that we analyze stuff. I don't know, it's very good to say in France that you're good at analyzing and the rational mind. So if you talk about like these experiences and psychic communications and the afterlife and even God or stuff like that, it's you don't talk about it openly at work or even in your family very often. It's people are getting uncomfortable, and
I remember when it was that way here, and
yeah,
I kept
it's
quiet for years because of that, because people would think you were a liar or crazy or just a fool.
yes, it's very strange, and um, I never had the fear in France to talk about it because when I discovered it like 10 years ago, something like that. So I was almost 28 at the time, but I never was afraid to talk about it and make videos about it because I felt that it was true, So I didn't mind.
Now,
But
didn't
it's
you have some, sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
No, no, I
Oh.
was
Now, didn't you have some dreams that kind of woke you up to the notion of this?
yes. Did I tell you about it or
I
did you
watched
guess?
another interview you had.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, I forgot I told it already. Yes, I did. I had some strange dreams, but not something like not the NDE, I never had any near-death experience or out-of-body experience or anything like that. I'm not a psychic. I'm not because very often people ask me these questions like why do you do this? It's a good question. So I'm not, but yes, I had some dreams, let's say, but it's not like I was given some information about what I have to do. Uh, do you want me to talk about it more, or because it's
Please,
I
I'm
feel like
interested.
I feel like a strange person talking about it right now.
Oh, because see, I think
But it's
it's fascinating because it sounded to me like a not premonition. Hard to put a word to it, but it's like something urging you, like maybe something from the other side urging you that like maybe you're kind of chosen.
yes. And to be honest, when I discovered these near-death experiences and everything else, like 10 years ago or something, I quickly remembered that when I was a child, I had all these ideas about God and the universe. I used to visualize a whole universe within my head, inside my head. And I was looking at people saying, like, it's really wonderful that every single person has this universe inside their head too. And about God, when I don't know why I was saying that as a kid, I was saying God is not a thing or someone. It's just every single one of us is God at the condition if we can activate something within us. And I was visualizing, sorry for my English, well, I was picturing, let's say, a purple thing on the chest. So I was writing also as a teenager a lot of science fiction novels. So I think it's something that was already in me, you know. And I lost it for some reasons, I don't know. I don't know why I did a business school and corporate finance, but anyway. And the dream, a very important dream for me was just when I was about to discover these near-death experiences, like 10 years ago. I was already watching them on YouTube and reading books. And one night I had this dream where I was laying on a table, and there were being way up in the sky or something, very long face being. I couldn't really see them, and they were sending me like beams of energy in my head, and my head was like my head had like many clusters, like a computer, like a hard drive, and they were filling up every single space in my head. And they told me it's to help you to better direct your videos. And I woke up immediately, and I went to the bathroom. I remember, and I told, yeah, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be like this, because I was already watching sometimes of near-death experiences, and I didn't want to experience this kind of weird stuff at the time, I was thinking. But shortly after that, like a few weeks after that, I started to make my own videos in French, like just a few weeks after. So that's how it began. I don't know if my English is good enough
No,
for you
you're
to
doing
understand what
great.
I'm saying right now. It's like
No,
I'm
I'm just fascinated by,
talking weird, but
no, you're not talking weird at all. So you couldn't be weird if you tried.
So yes,
No, I'm very
so
impressed. I mean, because you studied like business and finance and you worked in that, but that seems like wasn't your calling.
no, it was so boring for me to do a business school. I think I did it for my parents at the end of the day, to make them proud or something like that, because I was good at school, and it was good to say you do a business school and you're going to have a great job with a lot of money. And I did a pretty good business school in France. It was quite famous, So when I after that, when I said I don't want to do this kind of job, it was really, really weird for my parents and my friends and everyone. It's like giving up something that you have in your hands for like what? For nothing. But I knew I wanted to make videos or documentaries or whatever the name. I wanted to do this and not a job in finance. So that's what I did. And for the first 2 years, it was really, really hard. And that's when 2 years after that, I started to hear about near-death experiences. So it's
That,
kind of a long story, a long personal story. I'm trying to be
no, I
quick.
got all the time in the world. Go right ahead.
So yes, that's the story behind
Okay.
the YouTube channel. Yes, let's say.
Okay.
So
And
there's
how long?
nothing really weird.
Okay. Now, how long did you do it in France before you started coming to the United States and filming NDEs here?
Yes. For 2 years, something like that. 1 year, 2 years, I don't remember. I did it only in French. And it started to become quite successful. Right now, I have like 500,000 subscribers in French, so it's bigger than in English, the YouTube channel, I mean. But after that, after a year or two, I always had the, I don't know, the intuition or a lot of synchronicities, a lot of stuff happening in my life telling me, you have to do it in English now. And it was really nonsense for me because it's so much difficult for me in English. You know, it's not my own language. I don't have any family in the US. I don't have any working visa even now. So it's you know, like, but it kept coming back all the time, the idea, do it in English, do it, go to California, do it in English, do it in English, all the time. So, and I got help from like nowhere to go there. So I went there like for a couple weeks and I started to make videos about that in English too. I found some people and I did my first mini documentary, let's say, about NDEs, and it was called Be on Our Side. I did it in San Francisco, and that's how I started the channel. And yeah, just like that. But even now, I don't really know what I'm talking right now. I'm thinking even now, I don't really know why I did it in English too. You know, it's a big question.
Did you have to learn English in order to do that, or had you already been learning?
No, I was already. I already did 2 internships with my business school. I had to do internships abroad. So I went in California once and the other one in Florida. For each one was for 5 months. So yes, I knew a little bit about the US and the culture and the language. But it was, yes, that's how I started.
I remember when I first heard about you, I heard a rumor that, I realized some time ago wasn't correct. But for years, I believed this rumor that you were hired by a billionaire to come and do these
Really?
films. Yeah, that was the rumor.
I never heard this rumor about myself.
Yeah, I heard it. I was at an IANS conference and years ago, and that's where I think I got it at. Somebody
That's
said that a
interesting.
billionaire had hired you and that you were like a filmmaker
Yeah,
come
I
to the United
wish.
States and doing this.
Yeah,
They said some
I wish.
billionaire was interested in near-death experiences. Then I got to know you, I don't know, months ago, and then I started realizing that wasn't the case at all,
No, that's
that you
not
were
the case at all.
independent.
But I have to say that I got some help, like I said, coming from nowhere, but not like a huge amount of money, just what I needed to do what I have to do at the time. Money, sometimes housing, but not a lot. Just take a plane ticket, go there, you know, stay a little while and go back. And I do the editing in France because it takes me a lot of time. And I don't have the resources to stay there all the time because basically I don't know. I don't have family. I don't have, anything. So no, I don't have a billionaire helping me, but I did have some strange help coming from nowhere. It's very, very weird. I wish when I will be on the other side, the first, maybe not the first question I will ask, but one of the big questions I will ask is like, what was the point with me and the US? What was I supposed to do or not to do? You know, it's but no, I didn't know about this rumor. I don't know who put out this thing.
I think I realized the rumor wasn't true maybe a year ago. I heard a different rumor that said that you were sending film crews here to do
Yes,
the filming, and then they send it back to you, and you,
yes.
and then I thought recently that I heard that you actually came to the US and filmed. So
No,
I
no,
thought,
I
well,
didn't
he's not
come.
sponsored then.
No, yes, recently, like for the last 2 years or so, I pay people to film the interview, and I ask the questions like that through Zoom, you know,
Okay.
in real time. So the guest is looking at the screen, and I'm asking the questions. And in the editing, I'm, uh, editing out my own questions, so nobody knows I'm not here asking the questions in for real. But anyway, but I do this because it's cheaper for me, a lot cheaper to do this than come myself, because each guest is in a different state, and it's sometimes they are in
Yeah.
England, and it's so, and it's, especially in the US, it's quite expensive to travel, in
Yeah.
every single state and book a hotel night, and then that's the explanation why, how can I say, it always feels to me that my own audience, the people following me, think I'm much more powerful, than I am in real life.
Well,
Uh,
I noticed by listening to the videos of you last night, you are a very humble person, which is
well,
rare. I mean, around the United States, we're so used to egos, I think, that really was surprised how humble of a person you are. I mean, I
yeah,
think you said, like, you were talking about your finance jobs, and you said something like, I forget how you worded it, like you couldn't keep a job or something like that. And
yeah.
like here in the United States, like not many people would like come out and say that about themselves. I just can't keep a job.
No, I could keep a job, but it was so boring. It was so boring. So it's, I didn't get it. It's like I was in the office, just when after my business school, I took a job in corporate finance in a bank for 9 months, and it was like a play. Everyone was playing their own character, and it's like, but there's no end to the play. It's like it's cannot be for real. It's all people are behaving, and it's I, I couldn't be like that. So, and and it still is a big failure for me to be like that. It's the feeling of not fitting in,
I think
especially in the US, especially in the
I know.
US.
It's just, I think sometimes we don't fit in no matter how hard we try, because later on we realize we never fit in because we're like an outsider looking in all the time. Like you saw it all like a play. Like
Yes,
your intelligence is above what's going on, what's taking place, and it's just not where you're meant to be. It's just not how your mind works. It's not what you're meant to be here for. And no matter how
yes,
hard you try, it's not going to fit. It's not where you're meant to be.
yes, yes, exactly. I'm not. I can try, but I can feel that I'm not meant to be here. And yes, I think at the end of the day, it's just about choosing between fear and faith. It's that simple.
Mhm.
And even for me, because it's like, like you, we have a lot of guests. It's a lot of wisdom is shared. But in my personal life, it's I have to apply that to myself, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all, um, to be in faith, to show up in faith all the time, to let go and to trust, because I can feel that there is something that is guiding me. Maybe I don't hear anything, but I can feel that I'm being drawn towards something. So I just have to trust. And sometimes I think I told you in an email recently that I wanted to quit,
Yeah.
the English YouTube channel, because, well, everything I've said before, like I'm French, and this and that. But no, I still have the feeling I have to go on. I have to make more videos in English. I have to go on. I have
Mhm.
to, I'm preparing right now a bigger documentary. NDE documentary, but featuring several people in it, in the same documentary. And I have to go on. I have to make it. And I don't know where it's coming from, this inner knowledge, this intuition. I don't know how to call it, but I know I have to do it. So
I feel the
I'm doing
same
it.
way. I want to
Yes,
quit
it's
sometimes, and then I just know that I just have to continue to do it.
yes, and what you're doing is very valuable to a lot of people, you know. You have so many guests, you have but I think it's like me, when we are in the middle of it, we don't see the whole picture, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a whole process of I don't know. I forgot what I was saying before
Yeah.
this question, but anyway.
I try to, when you said that, it's kind of visualizing the driver of a car. Everybody else in the car gets to look out the window and enjoy the trip, but the driver just has to stay focused, and they get tired because they're the one, pushing this forward, and don't stop and realize, how they were carrying everybody. But
Yes, and I'm always afraid of the ego, you know, for me, uh,
mhm.
because I don't want to be doing it for the wrong reasons, basically. You know,
Yeah,
I
I
don't want
understand that too.
to be making these videos just to say, well, I make videos in English
Right.
and this. Uh, no, if I do them, it's for a reason. I have the intention has to stay pure enough, you know.
See, I get that. And you're the only one I've talked to that feels that way too, because it's like it's bigger than us.
Yes,
They're more
yes,
important than just the material, the financial, the ego, it's like none of that actually a hindrance in it. It's like get that away from it because this is too special.
yes, 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 and of course, fear can kick in, you know, but especially about money, but about so many other things in life. But anyway, that's where faith has to come in, you know. And I remember, maybe I'm getting old, but I remember a few years ago when I started this channel in English, I used to say to myself, I don't care about money, you know. I'm
Mhm.
going to go to the US, I'm going to finance everything the way I can, but I know money is going to come if my intention is good. And I remember that uh, uh, a while ago, a few days ago, and yeah, I think maybe now I'm more fearful. You know, I
Isn't
have
that
to
funny?
remember.
And that, yeah, we
Yes,
have to remember, don't we, the faith we had when we started out and the purpose
yes,
we had, and we can get tainted as we go along and have a little bit of success and the feedback, and then like I'm like you too. I don't have to take these breaks because I don't want to get wrapped up in all that. I want to keep my focus on where
yeah,
I started.
yes, and you're a very kind person. You know,
Well,
you are
thank you.
very, I don't know how to say it in English. Very nice, let's say. That's very smooth. So I think you're a good person to do these interviews, you know, because it's not very easy. People don't realize it's not very easy to do a good interview sometimes. You know,
And it's hard to pick guests. I mean, I just
yes,
started
yes,
out, I just want to get as many guests as I could. And then after a while, I started getting some that almost come on and they were fake. And if I would have
really?
had them on, they would had got people buying their service that is not good. And because I happened to do my research before this person come on, and I had to step back, and I got afraid of having guests because I started really realizing what a responsibility this is. Because some guests, like you put on this beautiful, like everyone's a documentary, like everyone's a feature film, but mine are just interviews, and so they come on and they're selling stuff sometimes. In my mind, I'm going to realize
Oh
it
yeah,
until they're
yeah,
on. And so say, sell your um believe me and my near-death experience, so the end of this interview, you will click on my website and buy what I'm selling. And some people
Yeah,
are saying they had an NDE now just because they want to sell some stuff that's not selling, or other people have been scamming people for a long time by saying they have an NDE, and then now everybody thinks, well, send me $100 because I can channel angels, or
really?
I can't, yeah, or
Yeah,
I can.
you know more than me, yeah,
Yeah,
about
because they had an NDE, they have these special powers that if you just call them, and I like, I don't want in this. I got to step back because I don't want a part of that. And how do I continue to have into ears on and not get to where I'm just advertising crap, like I'm an infomercial or something? Because this one
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
was gonna say, call me and you pay, I don't know how much money, but he can cure your PTSD and depression in like 10, 20 minutes. No, he can't. He's lying, saying that he has these credentials that he doesn't really have. And I'm like, almost had him on. Like, it like scared me. Like, I had to step back. Like, I don't want people to trust me. And oh, they were on Peggy's show. They must
Yeah.
be telling the truth. And I'm going to go buy this stuff. He tells people to go off their medication, like, gosh, this is really serious stuff here. And I just want to, what I originally wanted to do, was to, like you, just to display the near-death experiences, and so people can understand better the experiences people have, and maybe they could have some gratitude in their life, like the near misses. I was almost hit by a car, like it just seemed like a hand pushed that car out of the way. Or, I had this NDE and God said it's not your time, or, and to be able to appreciate the help that we're getting in our lives. And I know in France, they think what people did here 20 years ago, that this is, you got to have reality. You got to be a reasonable person and not, buy into this stuff, which is good because you do need that level head when you watch this, because not everything glitters is gold. But at the same time, and I also was wanting to ask you, like, what are you finding or learning, or do you see where this is going with NDEs, how it could be more science, studied by science than what it is? I don't know, that's a good
Yeah.
question.
Well, yeah, it's a good question. I completely lost track of all the NDE YouTube videos in the last year or so. It seems to me like there are now so many YouTube channels talking about NDEs all the time. I don't know where it's coming from. It's everywhere. It's so anyway.
I know. When I
Forgot your
started, there wasn't
question.
that many.
Sorry.
Now everybody's like, well, I feel like well, Peggy can do it. I can. So here comes people I know that suddenly,
Yes, yeah, they're all doing. But what was your question? Sorry, I forgot your
gosh,
question.
the main question, I guess, was where I was leading up, watching these near-death experiences. And you might have probably heard some of the researchers talk to about the science that they're finding to try
Yes,
to prove.
yes,
Where do you think this is headed? Because I'm not finding the research is really coming up with a lot to prove these.
yes. That's really the thing. I'm really interested in the science and spirituality because I think real science has to take into account these experiences because it's real. If it's real, it's real. So if it's real, it means that the brain doesn't produce consciousness. The fact that we are aware. If you ask someone, do you exist? Of course I exist. I know I exist. I just know. We know we exist. It's that simple. And that feeling, that knowing of existing, it's not something coming from the brain. It's received by the brain. The brain is a filter. There is the filter theory in science that the brain is receiving consciousness and filtering it so that we can operate in this 3D dimension, in this 3D world with the five senses. But it doesn't mean that the reality is just about this tiny frequency, this 3D dimension. There is so much more, but it's beyond our five senses. Sorry, it's beyond our five senses. So and if we want to access beyond this 3D reality, we have to go within. We have to remember who we are. And it's beyond the mind, it's beyond the body, the physical body, but it's also beyond the emotions. We have to work on ourselves every day, and it's like a quest, a grail quest in some way. We have to remember this, that we have the spark of the divine, you know, within us. That's the only thing that is real. Eventually, it's this spark. It's and so. And so, because about what you asked me about science, I think what's really interesting for me is the nature of reality. Like, what is this reality we experience, and what is the relationship between the reality we experience and ourselves, our consciousness, our mind, whatever? What is the relationship? And I think at some level of consciousness higher than us, highest than us right now, at some level we are just projecting our world. You know, it's one means there is no me or the world. It's just like one, me and the world. We are one. We are projecting it. Everyone is the whole universe experiencing itself, you know, from a relative viewpoint, from a human viewpoint, but it's at the soul level. I think it's the way it works. So I don't think this world is what we think it is. I don't think we don't know who we are. We don't know where we are, basically, to summarize what I think. And I want to know more about I want to know more about that. And I think it's a very serious question. You know, it's not an escape, you know. NDEs and spirituality, it's not an escape like I want to go to heaven, I want to escape this world, and that's it. And it's not there is in my mind it's not there is this world and then there is everything else, like, you know, spirituality, NDEs and cool stuff like that. You know, it's all one. It's who we are right here, right now. And we forgot that, and that's why we are where we are right now as a society. We are completely lost. I think we are completely lost. We don't know what we are doing, basically. It's far deeper than a financial or a economical crisis, or, you know. So yeah, I got carried away with my answer. But
it's like, why, like, you see how people still look at NDEs in France. It makes me think, you know, where we were here 20 years ago, or even 10, or even with some people still today. But, you know, I don't see what's wrong with asking the questions and having science try to figure it out. Is why are we here? And where are we going next? I mean, what is so wrong? You know, they studying all these other weird things. Why is that taboo? Why is that the wrong thing to discuss?
Well, in France, it's still very taboo, even in the family circle, or it's very, very taboo in France, even right now. Like, if you ask this kind of questions, it's like people, well, they talk about something else and they think you're weird. But the truth is that everyone has experienced some mystical thing at some point in their life, you know, some strange stuff, let's say. So we all know deep down, we all know it's real, but we want to, in France, we want to avoid it. And I think it's because it's like A Course in Miracles, you know, the book says the ego, who we think we are, we want to construct something that seems solid, you know. We want to master our world, master our career, our relationship, our life. We want to be strong. And I think it's the same in the US. People want to be seen as strong people, you know, people
False
who
sense
know
of
what they are.
security.
Yes, people who know what they are doing, you know. You have the status, the money, the everything, and it's good. You can have them, but it's not who you are. And if you start telling them that this shall pass, you know, everything you're building right now, it's cool, it's can be nice, but it's not why you're here, and
Right.
it's not who you are. People, they don't like to hear that, because then what, you know, then what? If it's not real, then they don't know what to do anymore. They feel like they are out of control. And but it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite is true. um, I think it's the most important question is the purpose. Like, what are you doing? What you are doing right now? We should ask this question to ourselves a lot more.
Yeah, it
What
just
for?
seems,
What for?
yeah, it seems to me like, why keep building a house and buying things when you know you're going to die? Why keep worrying about your physical fitness and trying not to age and when you know you're going to die? I mean, when
No, but
does a person work on their soul instead of their physical body? You know, it's like that's not even a topic of most conversations is, you know, when you hear people's life reviews and their near-death experiences or things that's happened to totally change somebody's life, it's like there's so much here we can learn from to change our lives a little better. Like when I first died at 25, when I first in the bright white light, I'm thinking, gosh, I didn't do much with my life. Like I was so quiet. I didn't let people know how I really felt. I didn't
mm,
really make a stand or come out and like change anything, or I didn't, I just felt like almost wasted. I felt like I wasted my life by being quiet and not speaking up and just letting things happen and going with the flow and trying not to make waves. And so when I come back, you know, later on, I got thinking, I think I need to speak up. I think I need to make this life count. And I think that's why a lot of NDEers have this feeling they can't describe. They got to write a book, even though they might not even be good at writing or good at telling their story. They just feel
yeah,
really compelled. I know a lot of people think, oh, they just want to, you know, have a bestseller and make a lot of money. Well, who doesn't that writes a book? They don't want it to be awful. You know, they
yeah,
want it to succeed, but there's something in us. We've got to like leave this mark here because we know we're going to die. And because it's so fresh now that we want that like stone
yeah.
here to say,
To
this is my life.
testify.
I was here.
Yeah. Yes, you want to testify, and it's and if the by the way, if the intention is good, you people don't have to worry about making money out of a book or anything, you know, if the intention is good. You know, that's the money is neutral. It's a neutral energy. It's not good or bad. It's what we do with it. So it's because I often have this comment also in under my videos, like, oh, he's just selling his book. Oh, she's selling her book. What a misery. Well, first, you're watching my videos for free. So there's that. And
Mhm.
second, you don't have to buy anyone's book. You know, if you want to buy
Mhm.
it, you can buy it. But there are too many debates about money and stuff like that. You know, it's just it's a tool. It's nothing more than that. And what is important is the intention behind it. It's not the money itself. Um, so yes, yes. So yes, you were talking about testifying. It's important to yes to testify. That's what Rob Gentile said. My last NDE video on my YouTube channel is talking a lot about that, about testifying. And I think it's really important to, like you are doing uh, at your level, or what I'm trying to do is let people know that this world, there is something else, you know. there is something else. Otherwise, I think it's quite depressing, at least for me. You know, it's like, what's the point? You know, if there is nothing else, what's the point? It's just about, I don't know what it is about, to be honest. If
The
there is
point
nothing else.
the turning point for me where it all just hit me like a ton of bricks was my youngest biological son, Jeremy. He almost
Yes.
drowned when he was 4, and a week later I had my NDE. But when he was about 20, he was having this New Year's Eve party, and I told this story for the first time about when he almost drowned, and I was praying. Then all of a sudden I had this knowing, wait a minute, I know where he's at. I know what's going on. Because earlier his brother just screamed. And I just had this knowing that he had fell in the creek, and because of all the rain and melting snow we had, the creek was up, and I'd never seen it up that high before. And it's swift, and something just let me know that it's not that deep, that if he would stand up, he'd be okay. All of a sudden, instinctively, I started praying to my son, and I said, Jeremy, stand up. It's not that deep. Calm down, and walk out of there. And so at this New Year's Eve party he had when he was like 20, he stepped out of the kitchen. He'd been there making a drink with his girlfriend, and he'd overheard me. And he said, Mom, I heard you praying. Like, what? He said, under the water when he was drowning. He said, you're right. That's what it was. I panicked. I was trying to swim. I heard you praying, Jeremy, it's not that deep. Stand up, calm down, walk out of there. And so that's what he did. And I'm like, and I never understood, what that time when it happened, he come walking up out of the creek, like he was in his trance, and looked up at me with these big blue eyes. And Mom, was you worried about me? I thought that was so strange at the time. So now I'm finding out, these 15, 16 years later, like, you heard me praying when he was under the water. And right then I thought, okay, how does this happen? If I can save my son through prayer, I want to be able to teach everybody how to do it. Say a child's missing, we can't find it. Could we is there some kind of intuition out here that we're not tapping into? And to me, that's where near-death experiences come in, after-death communication, out-of-body experience. All these things are touching so close to that knowledge. But so many people are scoffing at it, like saying, oh, that's just, stupid stuff, or that's just people lying. And the science is saying, oh, that's just hallucinations. And they're not taking it seriously, because I know from my experiences, these are true things that are giving us so much information, but nobody wants to seriously study it. And they'll say, the rebuttal is, oh no, so-and-so studied it for 50 years and 40 years and talked all these NDEers. I was like, but the evidence isn't there. They're not studying it well enough. Until the scientists that are atheists, they don't want to see that all this adds up to there is a God. Sorry, people that don't want to believe, but it all adds up to there is a God, because most NDEers say, they were told it's not your time, go back. Okay, who said that? If there's no God, who said that? Who decided that? Who knows?
Yes. And the problem, the NDE people, they often say that words cannot describe what they experienced. It's beyond words, because our words, like we are talking right now, it's meant to describe this 3D world, at first. So when we use words for these other dimension and these experiences, sometimes it's misleading. And about God, it's the same, because I can say I believe in God, but what is God? Who is God? It's beyond the 3D, the mental understanding. It's beyond what we can picture. So we just I think we cannot grasp it with the mind. Who is God? What is God? What is the divine? But we can just trust. We can just have faith in it and know that we are one with it.
See, I think we could find out who God is. I think we could. I do. I think if scientists and philosophers, whoever, if they took this stuff seriously and actually studied, and made some way of studying it. First of all, the first thing they have to do is find a way to study it and to be able to get the truth. I think there is a way to prove God, starting with studying near-death experiences,
Yes.
because you cannot have people for over 100 years and all over the world talking about the same thing and it not be real. It's just not possible. That's not logical. Everyone wants the logical reality, but that's not logical reality to say that these are all hallucinations. If for all these years people are saying similar things in other languages, in other countries, has had no internet to be able to communicate. They do now somewhat, but still, I can look back at years ago, in 1986 when I first told my NDE, and then here somebody's just had one say something so similar. They haven't heard my story, and I never heard theirs, 30 years before it happened. So how can they be so similar? And these children, that are having them, that come back and say, wow, mommy and daddy, Jesus is real. Jesus was there and I sat in his lap. Where do they get this? They're not told this in Sunday school, that when you die, you'll sit in Jesus' lap. No, they're not told that. They're told, be a good boy and girl, so you go to heaven. And that's just about it.
Yes, and that's exactly what I thought when I started to discover these NDEs in French. It's like it's all over the world, all throughout history. So of course, there's something real. I think there is a separation in my mind. Like even right now, like one part of me is like, I just know it's real. Just know, that's it. It's that simple. But the other part of me is like, wait a minute. If it's real, how come I cannot see angels, or I cannot hear my guy talking to me?
But you do.
Yes, I do.
The dream
I
you
know I
had, the
do.
push
Yeah,
you
I know I do.
feel.
I know I do. When I said this sentence, I got the idea you do. So yeah, well, whatever.
And when you were little, the purple in the chest area, I mean, they're there. It's just like how much we bank on it, how much we believe in it, how much we trust in that in our own introspective world.
Yeah, but then why it should be, don't you think that it should be easier, like for you or for me or for anyone else, whatever, like why this life can be like quite hard for most people,
Well,
why
like you,
is
for
it?
example, how humble you are. Like most people would not be humble. I mean, you're an extraordinarily good-looking young man. You're extraordinarily successful. And with the filmmaking and stuff, that's another level of success. You would think that you would be just so arrogant and obnoxious. And you're just the opposite. And that has to come from any outside forces that are rewarding you for doing what you are, for looking how you are. You have apparently have pushed it out and remain centered. And I think that's the way with NDEs and not trying to understand, is this real? I don't think I'm all that. I don't think I know all that. Everybody else says this, so I'm going to take what everybody else says in account more than what I'm going to take what I know into account. And I kind of had to get to that point in my life where, like, wait a minute, I got to start believing in what I know instead of what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, yes. That's exactly what I got as let's say an inner knowing recently, like a few weeks ago. It was a very powerful feeling of this idea coming to me, like all the problems, because I was thinking about all the problems I have right now for making these videos in English, to keep going. And I got this very powerful idea that all the problems in the US, all the money problems, all the people, the problems with people, with everything I experiencing right now, amount to nothing against my will. If I want to, if I believe in myself, I will. But I often have this idea coming to me. Like when I'm in the front of the sea in France, you know, when I look at the horizon at the sea, I have some ideas coming to me, and the idea was like, you have to believe in yourself first.
Yes.
And I'm like, of course I believe in me. Like, of course that's not the problem, you know. Yeah, no, you have to say it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to deep down know that it's coming. So that's the kind of uh, let's say intuition I have right now. So I
Very
don't know if
important to
it
believe
makes
in
sense, but
yourself.
and how about being humble? Because I get that a lot of the time, like, oh, you're so humble. I don't think I don't picture myself as someone humble, you know. It's very strange. It's I just am making like videos on YouTube. I'm a French guy making videos on YouTube. It's not like it's and if even if it was more, it's just videos, you know. But the what is important is that I'm trying to put very good energy, let's say, into the videos, into what I'm doing. But the energy, what I'm putting in it, doesn't come from me. Or maybe it's coming from my higher self. I don't know how to call it, but it's not the me you're looking at right now. You know, the me like Anthony, it's you know, I like everyone else, we all have fears, guilt, and whatever. But it's when people look at my videos, they look at the real me, at something else, you know. So that's why people think I'm humble. It's because I know that the little me right now, it's not doing a lot, you know.
Well,
It's
I think
just a
you were the
tool.
first one to start making videos like that. And yeah, we do, interviews like I do. That's not hard to do, but I mean, the videos you're making are very professional. And I didn't see any videos on near-death experiences like that until I saw yours. Now more are popping up and copying that. But in the beginning, I think you started it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's beyond me, you know. What I'm doing in English is it's beyond me. Even right now, if you ask me, I still really, really don't know where I'm headed, like with these videos in English. But I know that I will keep going, you know, until
You
I collapse, basically.
have you thought about movies?
Oh, yeah, why not? Well, first I want to do this documentary I was talking to you about. It should be released within a few months, let's say, maybe less. It should be much more professional and powerful, with a lot
Okay.
of people in it. And then after that, yes, I want to make really powerful stuff. That's my goal. But I always have this fear, like how, you know, how.
How about a movie for
So
theaters about near-death experiences?
yeah, but it's I don't know. Maybe sorry. Maybe I lack confidence, you know, because I never did any how do you say in English, movie school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I never did that. I never took any single class in movie making. I don't have any connection even now in the US, and don't have any. You know, it's so far-fetched. Like it's so. Uh, but it doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just means that I don't know how, and I have to trust, and I have to have enough will, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, and so yes, uh,
A lot of people are putting things out like that. Like there was a case for heaven, it was called. The people that made it wrote a case for Christ or different ones. And so a case for heaven was actually in the theaters. And everybody was excited about it. And it just didn't portray NDEs in an
yeah, it's really hard to
entertaining
portray,
way.
and yeah, it's really hard. I get that. It's really hard to portray NDE
Yeah,
with
because they want to
images.
the science, you don't do this, but a lot of them want to put all the scientists in there talking first, and then have little clips of NDEers moving back and forth, and then
Yeah, but
scientists. And it's,
yeah, yeah.
nobody wants to watch. It's not entertaining. It's
Yes,
just
and
not.
they don't go to the point, it's always like, well, oh yeah, it's so refreshing. They had an insight, maybe this, maybe that, maybe. It's not maybe, it's you have to go to the point. But I think in fiction movies, you have the how can I say this? Like movies like with fictional movies are more real sometimes than documentaries. They say a lot more, but people have to listen carefully to what is said. Even in some cartoons, like The Lion King, or if you just read the script and you forget that there is a movie, just read the script and you have everything right here. So that's the kind of project I'd like to do one day.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed when movies come out like Heaven is for Real, Miracles from Heaven, 90 Minutes in Heaven, Breakthrough, things like that. But then when they come out with like a documentary type movie on NDEs, it just doesn't grip your heart like somebody's personal story through NDE, and what happened after or before and all.
Yeah,
And
because
because
yeah.
we learn so much through true story movies. It gets a point across more than scientists say this and they say that, and then it seems like they all try to put their own political spin on it. So therefore
Yeah,
that means
yes.
reincarnation is real, or therefore religion don't matter. They try to put their own political voice on that, and then it just
Yes.
ruins it.
They overcomplicate things. I think
Yeah.
it's very simple. I think the way, and that's what a lot of NDE accounts are saying. Like when they were on the other side, it's like it's so simple. I get it. I get everything. It's so simple the way the universe works. It's of course, but when they come back, they forget. But I think at the end of the day, it's very simple the way it works. It's like this oneness idea. It's very real. It's very simple. So we have to find a way to put this simple truth into movies.
Yeah.
It's so yeah. So I don't know if I was clear enough when I was talking, because it feels like I have a strong French accent, and
No, you came
well,
through
anyway,
well.
yeah, it's anyway. Um,
So I'll put a link to your Anthony Chene Production YouTube channel in the description on this, and they can see your documentaries on there. It's on your channel. And
yes,
when will
and
the new documentary be out?
I think at the end of the year,
Okay.
it will. Yeah, it should be. And if you have some questions, I don't know if you forget. Maybe you forget to ask me some important question. You can, if you want, like the question that is burning your mind for months, maybe, about me, because I just realized, thanks to you, that there are rumors about me. So maybe
No, it's
you
not
have
thanks to
another
me.
rumor
I mean, yeah,
about
I
me.
told
You
you,
can
but
say
yeah.
whatever you want about me. Just ask. I'm not an
Well,
alien. I'm not. I don't know.
you and I started talking a few months back in email, and I started realizing those rumors wasn't true by what you were talking about, like how you're struggling, like you don't know if you can do this anymore and stuff. I thought, well, he's not working for somebody. He's working for himself, or he wouldn't be having this
Yes.
dilemma. So I knew
Yes.
that wasn't correct. And
Yes.
then at some point I realized that you had been, at least at one point, coming over actually yourself and filming.
Yes.
But I guess now you send people over, and then they send it back to you. So that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
correct, I guess.
Yes, and it was a game. Also, it's a game right now between me and the other side, let's say, because I don't hear my guides, I don't hear anything. but I can see that in my life, at every single point of my life, I was drawn to go there, to the US and especially to California. I don't know why. Like my first internship during my business school was in California, but totally out of the blue. Like was really, really strange how I got there the first time. And anyway, so now my game with them is like, I don't want to play your game anymore of going to the US all the time. It's exhausting and I don't see the point. So either you are more clear with me or just give me some guidance, more guidance, or I won't go again. You know, it's like, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It's a hard thing to learn to follow where you're led because you
Yeah,
don't be
yeah,
led
yeah.
astray by your own mind.
I think it's my mind, my own rational mind, French rational mind, who is in rebellion, you know, who is fighting against my other side, you know. It's kind of an internal conflict, something like that.
I thought about last night. I'm going to send you, unless you've already seen it. Have you heard someone? It's called High Ren, REN. It's called High Ren. It's a song. It's like 9 minutes long. I'll send it to you. It's this
Okay.
guy. He just made up this song, and it's 9 minutes long, and it's like you're at a theater. But the way he does it is so unusual. He just starts out like High Ren, like he's talking to his another part of himself, and he's arguing with himself, and it's really fascinating. And the guys went through autoimmune problems and psychosis and stuff, and he's like come out the other end of this with this message at the end. I'll send it to you
Yes,
because
yes, it
it's
sounds
fascinating.
interesting. Sounds interesting. I think we all have our internal fights, you know, at some point.
Yeah, it just seemed to really put that in perspective. That it's a little thing we all deal with. We don't talk about, we don't even like really acknowledge it with ourselves, that we have these little inner voices, saying, do this, don't do that. You can't do
Yes,
that. I think I can do that. No, you can't do that.
yes, and that's why I hated the corporate world also, because it's like there were a lot of people with, you know, ties and suits and acting like they master everything, you know. And it's like I was like, come on, I know it's wrong, you know, I know. Like, what's the point in you know showing this kind of attitude? You know, it's I don't know. It's
You have
just be
eyes that can see through bullshit.
yes, be real, you know, be who you are. I just know that I just know who you are. So just stop acting
Yeah.
like that. It's
Cut the
boring
shit.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't lead you anywhere. So well, anyway, that's uh that's where I am right now.
Okay.
So
Was there anything you wanted to discuss that you didn't get a chance to?
mm, uh, mhm, no, no, I don't. I used to have a lot of negative comments about Jesus in my on my videos, you know, like you didn't talk about Jesus, therefore it's the devil. But I don't have this anymore, and I think it's a typical US thing, you know, the
People thought you
Jesus.
were the devil because you're
No, yeah, me
guesting?
or the guest or
Yes.
anyone. Yeah, me, I was
Okay.
the devil, of course, because we didn't talk about Jesus in the NDE, and so it's the I don't know. It was weird, but because we don't, I don't,
I mean, it's not intentional, right? It's just like their story, I
yes, it's not.
assume.
I don't want to. Yeah,
Because I know you have had people on that do talk about it. So
yes, 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 like Aaron Abke, people like that. Yes, and yeah, I don't have any problem with that or with talking about God. It's um, it's just we have to be careful about not dividing people, you know, when we talk about religion, because uh, people can be very prompt to fighting against each other. It's a trick. It's a trap, you know.
Yeah, I remember Carlos was on my
Yes,
show,
Carlos.
and you found him on, and then made the documentary or whatever you call it, your show on him.
I forgot his last name. Sorry,
I do
Carlos.
too. I forget Carlos Vivas or something
Carlos
like that.
Vivas. Yes, Carlos Vivas. Yes, yes. He talked about Jesus. Yes, a lot.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. He's a really great guy. Great guy. Yes.
yeah.
Um. And so yeah. Why
But
were?
that's how I got talking to you. As Carlos said, Peggy, guess what? I was on your show, and Anthony Chene saw me on there, and I'm like, he watches my show. And I thought he was really like proud that like you had watched my show. And he's like, yeah,
Yes.
he's bringing the film crew down and doing this. Like, oh, that's so great. And so that's
Yes.
why I started sending you guests. Like maybe you'd be interested in this one, because I thought, well, if you're watching them, maybe, maybe you overlooked this one. Maybe you like that one. So
Yes. And
that's
I
how we
have.
got talking.
Yes, I have my habits. Let's say my habits. Um, because you're doing it for. You have been doing it for a lot of time. And so I know like what you're doing. So I am used to watching your videos. But like I said before, right now there are so many more YouTube channels. I lost track of it, and I don't really watch the new ones. It's like, I don't know, it's too much, or too many NDE videos. It's like too much even for me.
Yeah.
So I keep watching like your YouTube channel, and not all I don't know what's going on with all these
I'll
NDE
tell you,
videos right
I'll
now.
tell you
It's
what's going
like,
on. They're stealing, there's people come along that are making videos like you do, only they're shorter, but they steal like my content and other podcasters' content. They cut us out, and they cut out their background. They put in a different background, and they just have the meat of the NDE, and they're making like 4 times as many views, getting me than I am by stealing my interview. That's what they're
yes,
doing. But they're
yes,
putting the pretty
yes.
music and the what do you call it? The I can't think of the word. Where the like little movies playing in the background of their story. I forget what that's called. You
B-rolls.
is that what it's called? Okay. Yeah, they're making
Yeah,
it, this like pretty like you do, but they're stealing my interviews to do it. Instead of doing
yeah,
their own
yes.
interview and doing it like you do, they're stealing everybody else's interview. That's what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I think it's how do you say in English? It's a trend. It's a thing right now. It will pass.
Yeah. And
So
that's another reason I was like, why do I even bother? I'm just making content for somebody else to come along and steal and make it all pretty and add the music and stuff. And they're making a whole lot more views than I am. So why do I even care? Right.
yeah,
So
yeah, I know the feeling. That's why also I told you, like, I'm asking like my guys or whatever, I don't know, like well, I'm done. I'm not useful anymore, so let me go. But I don't think so. I think if you do it with a pure intention, if you're really genuine, if you're asking good questions, you will still be here as long as you want. It's we don't have to be afraid of anything. Uh,
have you heard of Angel Studios?
no.
Okay. They just put out the Sound of Freedom movie, and it's like real popular because it's about child trafficking.
Okay.
And but they also put out like NDE movies. And so
Okay.
there's a lot of people rushing that kind of do what you do, but trying to get Angel Studios to take on and turn their stuff like what you make like into
Oh
movies.
yeah, it's so boring.
So
It's boring the same way that my corporate job was boring. It's like everyone's copying everyone. It's so boring. No, yeah, I think it's not the way.
it's kind of like,
It
where do we go
doesn't.
from here, right?
Sorry, it's,
Like, where do we go from here?
I don't know. I think I will still trust that I will go wherever I have to go and do what I have to do. And I think, at least for me, I know that I will do what I'm here to do. I came here to do something, and I will do it completely. And then I will be free. I will live, but not before. And I'm really confident about that. I
Have
will
you
do
heard of
what
the
I have to.
Bigelow Institute?
No.
Okay, it's this billionaire that was in science, space travel, something a few years ago. He come up with this big contest for people to enter, and he wanted somebody to prove the afterlife.
Oh,
And
forgot.
so all these near-death experience researchers and podcasters, and everybody's submitting all this stuff. Somebody got $500,000. This Jeffrey Mishlove did, who's had this like radio show on NDEs for years. He's the one that ended up
Yes.
winning. And like Dr. Jeffrey Long, he got like, I don't know, 50,000 or something. They split it up. But
Yeah.
still, I didn't read all the research they come out with, but there for a while there was on the website, I don't know if there still is, you could click on and read the research that they submitted. And I didn't read it all, and I just skimmed through what I did read, but I'm like, I'm not seeing the science that I want to see. Like, I want this proven, I want that proven. And if they maybe take that money and build a science lab where people were actually studying this stuff in a serious way together, like on a daily basis, because these other people have their other jobs as doctors or whatever they
Yeah.
do, and to where they're actually like as a university, setting, studying, because I just believe we could prove the existence of God if we did. And I believe that. But that's me.
Yes.
I'm not a
Yes. And
billionaire. So
no, but we could also change the way we live, like very
yes.
deeply, and for the better. It's very possible. There's no question about it. At least for me, I really believe in it. And uh, but yeah, maybe there is a way in the US to know billionaires. It seems like maybe there's a way to contact them. I don't know. It seems like I never have any contact from any investor or billionaire or anything like that. It's like, well, maybe there's something. Maybe we have to do something. Register somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be more than book sales. It's got to be more than YouTube views. There's got to be more to it than movies. And it just seems like we're not there yet. And I'm just feel like I'm pushing and trying to get people to like, can we get together and figure out how we can actually prove this instead of, people are learning that they just have this big NDE elaborate story. And I do know people for a fact that are lying and are very famous. I know for a fact. And they're just, and people don't care though. Some people don't care if it's true or not. They just want they want entertained.
Yes, 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 but yeah. Well, yeah, it's about fame, being famous and all this stuff. And
Well,
I
I
don't
think
really
God
get
picked
that
the right guy when he picked you to start doing this, because you are
because
humble.
I hate that. I hate showing myself. I really hate that. It's like when I do this interview with you, it's because I like your YouTube channel, and I'm telling I have to play the game. I have to show who I am, at least at some point, a little bit. So that's why I'm doing it. But I hate seeing myself, even taking pictures of me. I don't even have a real picture of me on my YouTube channel. It's
I know that. That's why I didn't know what you look like. There's this, I was like, well, I went to get a picture for this. I'm like, wait a
yes,
minute. He just sent me the same picture, the only one you see
yes, because
out there. And then I thought you was an older man for some reason. And then I
yes, I
see
sent you
you,
the same picture.
yeah. And I see you on I thought, what, these interviews last night. And I'm like, oh my God, he's this gorgeous young guy. Like he's hid behind the camera all these years.
Yes,
So I'm
I
glad
edit
everybody gets to
myself
see
out.
you today. Huh?
Yes, I edit myself out of my own videos, so
You
nobody
look
sees
like
me.
Elvis Presley. You look like a young Elvis Presley.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and you know, at first it was kind of weird, this way of not showing myself, you know, in France, but even in here in the US, you know, at first I got comments on my YouTube channels like who is this guy? Like why like he's not even in his own on his own channel, you know. But then after that, people, I think they got used to it, and so yes, uh, I don't see the point of showing, you know, myself, or so if
You are
I
so
don't,
un-American.
yeah, and maybe that's why I'm not, yeah, it explains a lot. I don't fit
Look,
in.
I mean that by they're so vain over here.
Well, it depends. I think there are a lot of different people everywhere. No, like there are like you're American, you know, too. You're nice people. But maybe because you had an NDE, maybe. I saw that people who got an NDE are very often very kind. So
When I started this, I thought, gosh, I wish I would have started this when I was young before I put on all this weight and got old.
it
But it
doesn't
is what
matter.
it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. It's not
But
it's
you know, but then as you get older, this is here and there for you, but you realize that you couldn't be who you are until you got this age, because you're forced to
yes,
see life differently and let go of the other stuff that you
yes,
were wrapped up in, which you're not, but a lot of people are in
yes.
their looks and their weight and everything. Like
No,
I
I
know
was.
women that like, okay, like when I was like 25 or so, I remember I wouldn't go to the lake down the road in a bikini anymore because I got like 125. Like I'd love to be 125 now, right? But I thought, oh my gosh, I'm 125. I didn't even go swimming. I took my kids and I wear my shorts and my t-shirt because I was that vain because I had put on like 5 pounds. Like, no way.
Yes, but
Was I going to anybody
but
see that 5 pounds? It's crazy.
you now you evolved, you know. It's part of life, you know. It's like for me, I did a business school also because I was very afraid of money, you know, very, very afraid. So that's why also I wanted to work in finance, is not to lack money, but was forced to change also. Um, mm, I had to because I was so depressed. So yeah, it's part of life. We have to learn what we have to learn. And
You
if we don't want to learn, we suffer, and we suffer until we get it. That's basically how it works, you
you were
know?
afraid of money,
Yes.
afraid of making money. Like once you had money, you were afraid
Of
of it.
yes. No, I was afraid of not having money, you know, because you know, I don't come from
No, I
I
mean,
come
was you
from a
afraid of getting money? Like,
no, I was afraid of not having enough money to live.
okay, okay.
To Yeah, because yeah, it's not easy. So I wanted security, let's say, like a lot of most people, I think, you know, we all want that. Financial freedom, we call it, you know.
Yeah, I always,
It's
my
not
young
financial freedom
adulthood,
at all.
yeah, we always like it always added up to more we made each month. So it was always afraid of not having money. But then later on, we started making more money and we had money in savings and it was growing. I got real scared because
Of
I
losing
was
it.
afraid of losing money.
Yeah, it's never ending. It's a never
Yeah.
ending cycle. Yeah, yes, I know. It's if you're afraid of money, you will always be afraid of money, whatever
Yeah. Either of
the
not
life
having
you
it
have.
or of when you have it.
Yes, it doesn't matter, and the level of the amount of money you have, it doesn't matter. It will always be the same emotional response. It will stay the same. no matter what. So you have to, people, they have to work on themselves and not whatever. But I know these people don't care when I say that. Nobody cares, you know. They just say, yeah, whatever. I want to earn a lot of money, and then I will be good. But they won't be. So anyway.
Yeah, like they'll finally have that money, then they'll be good. But then there's people that they lose it and they commit suicide because they can't handle it. They've lost all this
Yes,
money.
that's it's not funny, but it is. It is at some point.
And
Or
then you see
whatever.
these, movie stars die, and like then the next day they're posting who got their will and what they were worth, and it's just like, gosh, all that money they had, they didn't spend, and now people are fighting over their money. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a strange world, let's say.
Okay.
It's a
Well,
strange world.
it's so nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Well, it's already been more than 1 hour, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
but
And
I
go
yeah,
ahead.
I didn't see the time
Oh, that's okay. We
flying
got late
by.
start too, so. But I'm anxious for people to click on links for your um, channel and your description, because they're going to love your videos,
Yeah, thank
and
you.
they can see those documentaries on there are amazing, and know who started this. I think you're the one that started making these nice documentaries and doing they're not interviews like I do. They are actual, the high end videos of people's near
Oh
death
yeah, whatever.
experiences. Whatever.
What? I'm the French guy,
They're
let's say.
amazing.
I will be.
Really amazing.
They
I
will
wish I had
remember
your
me as
talent.
the friend. Yeah, you
I
have it.
do. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Like I'll trim off our chip chat before this video, and then a couple seconds at the end after we say goodbye, and then it goes into a file, and then I upload on YouTube. Like I'll send this to you. It'll be within 24 hours. You'll have this
Okay,
video. Do with it what you like, but there it is. But I just
that's
do them
perfect.
and get
This
it out.
conversation was, you know, it was good. It's don't worry. I really like the way it's the, let's say, the energy of the video. It's really nice, you know.
I tried doing them like you and not know. So I hired a guy to help me, and I put out two a couple months ago. One was his army picture on the front. I forget what I called it. I gave my all, I think is what it's called. And then the other one beside it is on Anna
Yes.
Christina on her
Okay.
story.
Yes.
And my gosh, that's hard work. It
Yes.
is very hard work. It's
Yes.
so time consuming. I think I got
Yes.
two done that. I got those two done that month, and like one or two interviews, and that was it. And I was exhausted. I think I took like the
Yes.
next month off. I was so exhausted.
Yes. 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 It usually it takes me more than 10 days to do the editing of one interview, and 10 days like morning, afternoon,
Right.
evening, included the, you know, big days. So yeah, and at the end of the 10 days or 2 weeks, whatever, it's I'm exhausted and
And
I
I
just
was
want
sick of the
to.
video. I was sick of their story by the
Yes.
time I got it done.
Yes, yes, I know the feeling. It's my life. It's basically my life.
And then we
So
get it up on YouTube, and I get all this stuff on the music that I ended up having to mute the music because the music was copyright and stuff, even though he got it from this program. It's supposed to be all safe. But then I'm
yeah,
sitting there having to
yeah,
delete music.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
I
it's a
know, I
pain in the
know.
butt.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
all right. Well, I'll let you go. And
Yeah, okay.
it's nice meeting you. I'll send this out
Yeah,
to you.
thank
Uh,
you for your time. It was really nice.
okay. I'm sure everybody will be enjoyed to meet you and get a face
Yes,
with Anthony Chene now.
thank you. It was really, really,
All
really
right.
great.
Bye
So,
bye.
bye.